But again, let's look at the facts with this knife. Look at that. Well, hello everybody. Let's take a look at this knife we have today. This is the Civivi Elementum Utility Knife. So of course what we are getting right here, we have a very high build quality utility blade knife, box cutter, whatever it is you want to call it. So of course it's a button lock design based on the full-size Elementum model. Deep carry pocket clip that happens to be reversible. And of course the claim to fame here is we have a replaceable utility blade holder where the blade would normally be on an Elementum. So that's a very nice feature because quite a few of us would just prefer to unscrew this, take out the blade, swap it out, have a fresh edge ready to go. Very cool attention to detail here. You can see they actually included a blade with the Civivi logo on there, even though these are disposable blades. That's kind of cool to have. But again, let's look at the facts with this knife. Look at that. Well, I have to go find my blade, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, geez. Okay, everybody, so talking about the good things with this knife, it is very nice that they happen to include some replacement utility blades. So we're going to swap one out right on camera because the one that just flew out, I have no idea where it went. So that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and take this out. You'll need a T8 Torx bit to get this going. So let's go ahead and take that out. We put the blade right into the holder. And what I'm thinking is I'm really going to torque down this screw to make sure that the blade is in fact securely in place. So I'm just going to hand tighten that as hard as I can. There we go. And so hopefully that will be resolved because, again, the issue here is the Civivi Elementum is a very fidget-friendly knife. This is the kind of knife that you would just like to, you know, play with the action all day long because it feels pretty good to actuate. The button lock, very fun to fidget with. So really the last thing you want to happen is you flip this knife out and your blade, flies into another dimension. So that's not a good thing. Maybe that's something on my end that I made a mistake on, but just be aware that's how you change the blade on this utility knife. So quite interesting design feature that they have there. So just be aware. But again, what we have here, as I was saying, let's look at the specs of this knife. We have an overall length here on the ruler. We are pretty much right exactly 6 inches long. So 6 inches of overall length means we have kind of a smaller handle, but it is what it is as a utility knife. We can also check out the weight of this knife right here. It is an aluminum handle knife, so it feels very lightweight, and it's only 2.3 ounces. 2.3 ounces. So not a heavy weight knife at all. So those are some of the facts: weight, length, and again, this blade can be swapped out with a T8 Torx bit. So I do want to share some information with you because again, we just saw how the blade can be swapped out. I did want to do an experiment, of course, though, because a lot of very common utility knives out there that you might pick up in your big box stores, like this one right here, doesn't have as much usable blade, but it's compatible with blades such as these right here. So these are concave hook blades, and if you've ever used these in a utility roll, they are very, very useful. And some knives are not compatible with them based on the designs, and typically knives like this may not be. So let's really quickly go ahead and try that out, see if they swap out for us. So blade comes right out. And let's put that in there. And I don't think this is going to work. So of course it slides in, but you'll look at the tabs right here. They don't line up with this hole. So we can see the only thing holding it down would be the screw. So it looks like the reason for that, if we look at a standard utility blade here and we overlay this blade here, you will notice that the tabs don't line up perfectly. So they're kind of like a different format there. So it should be over here, but instead it's over here. So this type of blade will not work with the Elementum utility, so just keep that in mind. Something to be aware of. Regular blades appear like they'll work just fine. So what do we really get in trade-off as a result? So the nice thing about this as a utility knife is we get the entire blade length here to use for cutting purposes. Most common utility blades, you get this much, you pull the blade out, you flip it over, and then you put it back in to use the other sharpened edge. So we're not getting that here. Instead, we get the full length for longer cutting tasks. So this one's maybe more everyday carry tasked, whereas your box cutters are definitely meant to be used for box cutting, cutting carpet, things like that, where you expect a lot of wear and tear on a short amount of edge. So interesting that. What we do have, a knife that's somewhat similar to the Civivi Elementum Utility, is one I have right here on the table, so let me pull it out. This one right here, same idea really. It is an everyday carry size knife with a utility blade holder. This one right here comes from New Knives, and this is the Companter. So let's put them side by side and you can see the difference. So again, where the Civivi has a smaller handle, the Companter here has a full length handle, but again, very similar designs here. The Companter though does have a difference with the blade holder. This one can be taken out without tools. This is just a thumb disc up here, and you can turn that with your finger, pull the blade out, put a new blade in, finger tighten it, and you're back in business. And so I think a flaw of both of this type of design is if you don't crank down those screws tight enough, the blade again is at risk of coming loose. And if it comes loose during use, could be a safety issue. If it comes loose when you fling the blade open, that in my opinion is kind of a fatal safety issue depending on who you're around, because these are certainly very sharp blades. But it's a very cool idea for an everyday carry knife. So this one right here, again, the New Knives Companter, just wanted to make that comparison because again, these two knives very, very similar right down to the handle shape, you know. So I wanted to make those strong comparisons to one another. I also kind of out of left field wanted to make a comparison with another box cutter knife. This one right here came out recently from Boker Plus. So this is one of their Kalashnikov models. So it's an automatic push button action. And again, full size handle. And this one kind of, you know, splits the thread here a little bit. We have, again, lesser blade length available, but it does give you that ability to swap out the blade. Toolless design, it just has a little tab right here that you have to push. It does have a little rope cutter right here, cord cutter, built into the blade holder. So kind of a cool little feature. And if you just happen to be a fan of autos, or if you're a fan of that AK or that Kalashnikov design, then this is one that you might be interested in. So Kalashnikov from Boker Plus. So again, just knives that use utility blades, something to have in common. But I also am very glad Civivi chose to include with this knife right here in the pouch. I noticed it. There is a spare screw, and this is the screw that holds the blade into the holder. So if you are out in the field changing this screw and it falls into the brush, you know, your knife will not be totally useless. At least when you get home, you can swap out that screw and get your knife back into a working order. So again, what are we getting here with the Civivi Elementum Utility? You're getting that really amazing build quality with what a Civivi means. The action is excellent. No issues with play or give in any direction. Excellent design. You can see those aluminum handles, just solid aluminum, you know, no steel frame in there. Just super, super solid to build, or build quality, super solid to hold. Feels good. I mean, it feels like a good quality knife in hand. So I don't think that'll be an issue. Just be sure to crank down that screw before you use the knife, and I think you'll be in good shape. So if you have any questions about what you've seen on the table today, please do drop me a comment below. I was kind of surprised by this one right here. I knew it would be a good knife, but again, it does require some diligence on the user's end. Whenever you are using a knife that uses replaceable utility blades, please use caution. Hope you all have a nice day. See you later.